Hello there you guys, welcome to one of my videos. Raphael Varane didn't arrive at Real Madrid training this morning. According to Deportes Cuatro, Real Madrid and Manchester United will announce the transfer of Varane in the next few hours. The operation is closed at just over €50 million. Negotiations have intensified between Manchester United and Real Madrid for Varane. The Manchester Evening News said a few hours ago that Manchester United are close to reaching an agreement with Real Madrid for the transfer of Varane. Marca said that Real Madrid are confident that they'll get close to the £42 million fee that they are demanding. Fabrizio Romano said that Raphael Varane wants Manchester United. It's special for him, and he said nothing's going on with any other clubs. Romano said yesterday that an official bid from Man United for Varane will be submitted in the next few days. The club are confident a deal will be completed. So it's looking very imminent that Varane is going to be our second major signing this summer. Varane has definitely decided to leave Real Madrid. He notified Real Madrid that he wants to join Manchester United. Real Madrid did offer Varane a renewal contract offer, but he rejected it. Varane's current contract at Real Madrid expires next year. But what a great signing he's going to be, because Varane is a world-class centre-half. He'll fit in our team perfectly. What a centre-back partnership that's going to be, Varane and Harry Maguire, because they'll complement each other very well in our back line. And I'm convinced at Manchester United, Varane will replicate what he did in the years he was with Real Madrid. Varane was a long-serving player at Real Madrid, endured 10 years with them, won a lot of trophies, so reflecting on that, he's got a good pedigree as a player. Made 360 appearances in all competitions. Real Madrid got Varane from Lens back in 2011. Man United are also willing to double his wages in order to sign him this summer. Man United also won Jules Koundé from Sevilla. Who are Manchester United going to sign after Raphael Varane? Now, there's a lot of midfielders on our agenda. We've obviously been linked with Ruben Neves. It said not so long ago that Man United moved ahead of Arsenal in the race to sign Ruben Neves. And Wolves are willing to sell Ruben Neves for £35 million. Saul Niguez from Atletico Madrid, he could possibly be our next signing after Raphael Varane. Man United have made a bid for Niguez. We think we can get Niguez for £45 million. Eduardo Camavinga from Rennes, we're still trying to get him. Declan Rice is on our agenda. And Sport Bild said not so long ago that Man United submitted a contract offer to sign Leon Goretzka from Bayern Munich on a free transfer in the summer of 2022, which is next year. So far in this summer transfer window, Manchester United have made 2 signings. Obviously we brought Tom Eaton in on a free transfer from Aston Villa. And obviously we brought Jadon Sancho in from Borussia Dortmund. Solskjaer made it clear that he wants to make around 4 signings in this summer transfer window. This summer transfer window is Solskjaer's 5th transfer window as permanent Man United manager. But at last, Solskjaer is getting the backing he deserves, and he wasn't backed enough for such a long time. We know Solskjaer's ambition for next season. It's to win the Premier League. There is United fans that are very sceptical that we're going to win a title under Ole. We haven't won the Premier League since 2013, which is 8 years ago now. Don't forget, Solskjaer recently signed a new contract at the club until 2024. There's an option of a further year. I'm very sceptical that he'll see out this new contract. Ollie signed a 3-year contract when he got the job permanently back in March 2019. But next season, like I've already said, is going to be massive for Solskjaer, and he's aware of that. Next season, I'd say Solskjaer's got to improve his decision making, because in a lot of the games he's managed so far at Man United, he has been tactically naive, and I'd say next season he has to win a trophy, because he's not yet won a trophy as Man United manager, and we haven't won a trophy since 2017. Which is 4 years or so ago now. That's nowhere near good enough to our standards. You know, despite us signing Sancho and despite us being on the verge of getting Varane, it still doesn't change my perception on Ole. I still don't think he's a long-term manager for Man United, and I think a lot of United fans will agree with me on that aspect. But I think Ole does deserve more time. He does deserve at least next season. There is United fans that are Ole in. There's also United fans that are Ole out. I've heavily criticised Solskjaer during his managerial tenure at Man United. I think he is our best manager since Ferguson. He's been in charge of the club now for 31 months, which is over 2 years. And he has gained some managerial experience, reflecting now on his being at the club. Ole hasn't got a proven pedigree as a manager, but that doesn't mean he can't succeed as Manchester United manager. Before he was with us, he was at Molde. He won a few Norwegian titles at Molde, but they're not a big club. He enjoyed 2 spells at Molde, and before Molde he was at Cardiff. He only enjoyed a short tenure at Cardiff. The reason he got sacked from Cardiff is because he ended up getting them relegated, so his record at Cardiff was disastrous. You know, the reason Ole is still Manchester United manager is because he's a club legend. That's what's basically saved his job. Because we have enjoyed very bad periods under Ole where he's been extremely close to getting sacked. And we lost the Europa League final to Villarreal last season. Like I said, I do have my concerns about Ole, but you've got to give Ole credit as well in quite a lot of aspects, to be honest with you. I didn't expect Solskjaer to do as well as he has done, so in that aspect, I am shocked. you've got to say he's done a good job to say the current squad he was left with when he got appointed in as Man United manager. Solskjaer has more or less given everybody their chances to express themselves, including the young players. I like the way Solskjaer develops the youth. Like I've said to you, he has made good signings as Manchester United manager. He has spent over 300 million at the club now. He's got rid of a lot of players since he's come in. Solskjaer knew when he'd taken over at Man United it was going to be a massive job, despite him knowing the club through thick and thin. And he knew he had a lot to do when he came in. In all his first full season, he got us to 3 semi-finals, got us a 3rd place finish. In his second full season, he got us to the Europa League final, the EFL Cup semi-final, the FA Cup quarter-final. Got us a 2nd place finish last season. Last season went the entire season without losing away from home in the Premier League, so that was a record. So there you go, they are the positives. You know, when we have been inconsistent, not all the blame has stemmed from Ole. There's also certain players that have had to take responsibility during a lot of them bad periods we've had. There is certain players at Man United that are not good enough to represent the club. Ole has been accountable for certain things, obviously. Some of the blame stemmed from Ole. I hate the way the football club has been run for a long time. Like I mentioned, you know, Woodward has been one of the biggest issues at the club for a long time, and I'm very delighted that Woodward is leaving. You know, Woodward's had a 16-year association with the club. Woodward's obviously been accountable for how poor our recruitment was for such a long time, and we've overpaid for players in recent years. You know, the Glazers, they've been one of the biggest problems at the club for a long time, because the Glazers have put Manchester United in so much debt. You know, a lot of United fans have been demanding the Glazers out. A lot of United fans were protesting against the Glazers at Old Trafford towards the end of last season. Solskjaer did reveal towards the end of last season that the Glazers apologised, because they was planning to scrap the Champions League for the European Super League. He says they could have been forced to sell the club, but for only £4 billion. The Glazers purchased Manchester United for 500 million back in 2005, and the Glazers have been at Man United for 16 years. Ole is our 4th permanent manager since Ferguson. Since Ferguson, we sacked David Moyes after 10 months. He's the worst manager we've ever had, I'd say. We finished 7th under the Moyes era. That's the lowest we've finished in the Premier League era. We sacked Louis van Gaal after, 2 years? We had a good start under Van Gaal, then it all went downhill. We won the FA Cup under Van Gaal, and we sacked Jose Mourinho after 2.5 years, despite him winning the Europa League, the League Cup and the Community Shield in his first season. He also got us a 2nd place finish in his first season. So you can say Mourinho did enjoy one good season at Man United. The reasons it didn't work out under Mourinho is because he had bad disputes with the board, bad disputes with the top players, and in general the board weren't backing the signings that he wanted to recommend in. But in the last 8 years or so, mistakes have been made by Man United. That's why we've been nowhere near as consistent as we'd like to have been. I am expecting players to leave Manchester United in this summer transfer window. I think there's a very, very good chance that we're going to loan Brandon Williams out to gain him more experience and to get him a lot more opportunities. because Williams is our third choice left back. He seldom plays for us. Alex Tellez, he could leave as well because he's been subjected to transfer speculation recently. Phil Jones, he should be leaving in this summer transfer window. We have agreed to let Axel Tuanzebe go. I think Diego Dalot will be leaving. He was out on loan with AC Milan last season. Andres Pereira, I'm expecting us to get rid of him. He was out on loan with Lazio last season. Pogba, he could still leave Man United in this summer transfer window. Don't forget, Man United are expecting a Paul Pogba bid from PSG. We are expecting PSG to make their move for Paul Pogba before the transfer window shuts. PSG are confident that £43 million will be enough to get Paul Pogba. PSG have held talks with Paul Pogba's agent Minio Riola. Not so long ago, Paul Pogba was discussing personal terms with PSG. When it said that, it said PSG had made no formal contact with Man United over Pogba. PSG want to partner Pogba alongside Wijnaldum in their midfield. PSG are willing to put some of their players up for sale to fund a move for Pogba. A few weeks ago, Pogba made it clear that he wants to join PSG this summer. Solskjaer recently gave us an update on Pogba. He said that Man United still remain in talks with Pogba's representatives over a new contract. Sky Sports said that Pogba is increasingly unlikely to sign a new contract. Pogba did reject a £50 million contract offer at Manchester United. So reflecting on that, he's set to leave. He said a new contract for Pogba at Manchester United could see him stay at the club for the rest of his career. Pogba's current contract expires next year because last season we triggered that 1 year extension on his contract. I initially thought Martial, Van der Beek, Matic and De Gea were leaving, but it looks like now they're going to be staying at the club for next season. But there's a lot of players that are going to stay at Manchester United, and I reckon there's quite a few players that have got long-term futures at the club. Dean Henderson, I reckon he'll stay with us. I think he's got a long-term future at Man United. I hope Dean Henderson is our number one for next season because he's reliable to be our number one. He did well in a lot of the games he was in goal for last season. And Dean Henderson's got that experience behind him because he endured 2 successful loans with Sheffield. He's also had other loan spells before. Before the start of last season, Henderson signed a 6-year contract with the club, so reflecting on that, he committed his future to Man United. But it said not so long ago that Solskjaer had chosen Dean Henderson to be our number one for next season. Like I said, De Gea, I think he's going to be staying at Man United for next season. The last time I read up about De Gea, it said that De Gea decided to cut short his holiday by 2 weeks to fight for a starting place. De Gea said he's determined to fight for his future. Said that De Gea was set for showdown talks with Solskjaer over his future after the Euros. Quite a few weeks ago it said that De Gea could be loaned out by Man United next season to make room in the goalkeeping department. Because he said De Gea's future is in doubt following the arrival of Tom Heaton. I still highly rate David De Gea despite him making a lot of mistakes in the last couple of years. De Gea's been long serving at Man United. He's endured 10 years at the club. he's been with us since the Sir Alex Ferguson era. And I reckon he's had around 8 good years out of the 10 years he's been with us. De Gea's won everything domestically at the football club, and he's made over 500 appearances for Man United in all competitions. David De Gea is on £375,000 a week. If we was to sell him in this summer transfer window, I reckon we'd get from between 40 to 50 million pounds. Luke Shaw, obviously he's going to be staying at Manchester United. Luke Shaw was our best player last season. In fact, he was the best left back in the Premier League. And I thought he did well for England during the tournament. Fabrizio Romano said not so long ago that Man United are in the process of extending Luke Shaw's contract. I think Shaw's just got under 2 years left on his current contract at Man United. Shaw still remains our first choice left back despite the arrival of Alex Telles last year, and I reckon Shaw's had a good career at Man United despite his injuries. He's been at the club now for over 7 years. Harry Maguire, he'll also stay with us. I don't know how long for. Maguire had a decent tournament for England. He was a big miss for us though towards the end of last season because he had ligament damage in his ankle. He's had some good games at Man United, he's had some bad games, but we certainly overpaid for Harry Maguire. We got him in a deal worth £80 million. He's the most expensive centre-half in the world at the moment and the second most expensive signing at the club. Eric Bailly, he'll also stay with us as well, because obviously towards the end of last season Eric Bailly signed a new contract with Man United until 2024. There's an option of a further year. He's a decent centre half, but my element of concern about Eric Bailly, he's too injury prone, so in that aspect he is a liability. Bailly has been at the club now for over 5 years. We got him for 30 million from Villarreal back in 2016. I think Victor Lindelof is going to remain at the football club for next season, but I can assure he hasn't got a long-term future with Man United. I do have my strong reservations about Lindelof. He's too predictable and he makes too many mistakes at the back. He's only enjoyed a few good games, not many. We got Lindelof for 31 million from Benfica back in 2017. And Wan-Bissaka, he's also going to stay at Manchester United. Bissaka is one of the best right backs we've had since Gary Neville. Defensively, he's always been superb. Bissaka though has got to show more attacking intent. That's what he's lacking at the moment. I reckon he's got a long-term future at Man United. Bissaka has enjoyed 2 full seasons at the club. We paid £50 million for him from Crystal Palace back in the summer of 2019. Like I said, it looks like Matic is going to be staying with us for next season, which I'm disappointed about because I've got my reservations about Matic. He's always been a static player and he's ageing up, and analysing the vast majority of his games at Man United, he's been inconsistent. Was it before the start of last season Matic signed a new 3-year contract? Shouldn't have given him that new 3-year deal. Matic isn't one of our first choice midfielders, but despite that he still seems to get his opportunities. We paid 40 million for Matic from Chelsea back in 2017. Scott McTominay, he's going to be staying with us. He certainly needs more time at Man United. He's been part of the club for a long time as it stands. You know, McTominay's still young. He's got a lot of development in him. You know, can he emulate that level where we want him to be at? Just after the first lockdown last year, McTominay signed a 5-year contract with Man United, so reflecting on that, he committed his future to the club. Fred, I think he's going to be staying with us for next season, but I can assure he hasn't got a long-term future with Man United. I've got my reservations about Fred. He's had his good games though at Man United, where he's kept the ball well, he's got forward well, got into good positions, he's been very mobile. We overpaid for Fred though, got him for £52 million from Shakhtar Donetsk. Donny van der Beek, it looks like he's going to be staying according to recent reports anyway, because it said Van der Beek is set to snub Germany, France and Italy to stay at Manchester United. Van der Beek's only endured one full season at Man United. You know, we got Van der Beek in a deal worth 40 million from Ajax last year. He's got a contract with Man United till 2025. I think there's an option of a further year. And he's versatile, he can play in 3 different roles. Van der Beek has played nowhere near as much as I expected. You know, he's made, 36 appearances in all competitions. Most of them appearances come from the bench. I recall him starting 4 games in the league last season. Mason Greenwood is obviously going to be staying with us. So too is Marcus Rashford. There's aspects of Rashford's game though that's got to improve. He's become injury prone as well, which is a concern. Rashford is going to be out until October because he's got a shoulder injury, don't forget. He decided to undergo surgery on his shoulder. We need to keep Rashford out on that left hand side because that's where he seems to be more effective. Edison Cavani, obviously we know he's staying at the club, which I'm delighted about because he's made an impact since he's come in. Mamad Diallo Traore, I'm not too sure about him. Last time I read up, I heard there was rumours of him possibly leaving. So, there you go. So anyway guys, any more news on Varane, I'll be straight back on. Drop your comments, likes below on the channel. If you do, consider subscribe as always, and take care. God bless. See you all again very, very soon.